sweating in the name of emancipation. "17-year-old Jigme Yeshi Hladun and her fellow fighters have been on their feet since 4 a.m.
At the beginning, I found the Kung Fu training strenuous. But in the meantime, I've got used to it. I used to think girls were weak, but since I've been living here in the nunnery, I know that's not true.
Trainer Jigme Konchuk Lamo makes sure the girls go through life strong and confident. The so-called white nunnery, where Kung Fu can also be practiced by women, stands on a hill above the Nepalese capital, Kathmandu. Hladun came here when she was 11. Up till now, her everyday life at the nunnery consisted mainly of studying and sport. But now the girl will be removed from her circle of friends and take on more responsibility.
What shall I put? Wait, I'll have a look. Here are the books. Are those the right ones? Hang on. I understand what it says here. I think it's in here. Show me where. Yes, that's right.
Hladun is seen as talented. That's why the 17-year-old will now spend more time with nuns, who will introduce her to the study of Buddhism.
Who wants cocoa? I'm friends with all girls, but my best friend is Kamela Mo. We talk about everything. Sometimes we quarrel about little things, but we quickly make up again. Kamela Mo is really my best friend. We need a spoon. Here you are.
There won't be any more carefree afternoons with friends and cocoa for Hladun in future. Instead, she'll have to look after new arrivals. More than 500 nuns live and practice in the Amitabha nunnery. They belong to the 10% population of Buddhists in Nepal. For her age, 30-year-old Jigme Tingjin Zangmo occupies an extraordinarily high office in the Drukpa order. She is Hladun's mentor.
Higher with the leg. Higher. Why is this dance important? What is it performed for? This dance is called Chuedro, or Gorma. We perform it to come closer to enlightenment. We also call it the way of awakening. You have to learn it so you can teach it to your younger nuns later on. Bring your leg up again. Bring your leg up really high, like in Kung Fu training. Hladun dances really well, and she's only just started learning. She's the first of our young novices to learn this dance. We're just practicing the first level. The hand and foot movements are very important. She's very attentive and alert. I think she'll learn this dance really quickly.
For the faithful of the Drukpa order, meditation is a method of coming closer to enlightenment. In class, Hladun is also with older nuns. Tingzin Sangmo teaches in Tibetan, a language learned by all nuns of the Drukpa order, regardless of whether they come from Nepal or India.
When we talk about enlightenment in Buddhism, we don't see it as something that we can get from outside. Enlightenment is to be found within us, in our spirit. I don't yet understand how I can demonstrate my devotion to the teachings of Buddha. You can do it by various methods. Prostration, for example. You do that too. Yes, but I don't know exactly how many I've done. I'm sure you haven't managed 100,000 yet. There are different ways to work on yourself to realize the teachings of Buddha. Another is self-denial. At the beginning, I found it very difficult to abide by the rules of the nunnery, but I've got used to it now. We become nuns in order to turn our self-centeredness into selflessness. I entered the nunnery in 2018. My uncle suggested that I become a nun. Before that, I didn't even know that girls could become nuns. I just knew that men could become monks and live in monasteries. I didn't know anything about women. But because I wanted to take refuge anyway, I became a nun. 11 वर्षमा जम्मा गरेको मैले. There was a monk in our village who told me a lot about the White Nunnery, how the nuns live there, and that they learn Kung Fu. I thought it sounded great and I wanted to go there.
The nunnery grounds are home to all kinds of rescued animals which need attention and food on a daily basis, a task which Hladun will take on in future. In Buddhism, all animals are respected as sentient creatures. Hitherto, Jigme Yeshe Laskit looked after the strays by herself, but she is often on the go outside the nunnery and needs someone who can fill in for her from time to time. Ladun comes from a little village in Nepal. Looking after animals was once a part of her everyday life, but after years in the nunnery, she's out of practice.
My parents are practicing Buddhists. When I told them I wanted to become a nun, they agreed immediately. Come on, come on. Come on, come on. Come on now. Oh, come here. Come on. Come on, come on. They're a bit scared. Otherwise, I feed them every day at 12 o'clock.
Time for the evening meditation. For the first time, Ladun isn't sitting with her friends.
I would say all of our nuns, everyone knows the basic exercises of Kung Fu. So our root guru, he is a very strong believer of women empowerment and gender equality, and he has been the biggest support we have.
In countries like Nepal, the ability to put up a fight means freedom for young women. On the one hand, a modern image of women, on the other, traditional rituals. In the white nunnery, these two poles come together effortlessly.
So this is called Janakcham. It's a wrathful mask, a black hat dance. We perform during the puja, grand puja. Whenever we do any puja, there are lots of different obstacles, especially when we do very secret practices. There are a lot of obstacles, comes in a different forms. So to remove or pacify all these obstacles, we do this mask dance. And ourselves as a performer or, as a practitioner, we have to visualize ourselves as a wrathful practitioner, wrathful deities, and then we try to remove all the obstacles. We, in the sense, the divine spirit or divine beings will remove all the obstacles. So then after that, there's another short dance to, to make a protection for the practitioners to, really successfully can practice until the end, until you get all the result. So there are two different short dances.
The White Nunnery is a place of peace. But outside the nunnery walls in the teeming city of Kathmandu, it is a daily fight for survival. There is not enough work, clean water, or healthcare. Almost 70% of the Nepalese population works in agriculture, but neither the harvests nor the wages are enough to survive on. At the market in Kathmandu, the nuns from the White Nunnery are popular. Providing for 500 sisters means potential business. Excursions to the capital, new territory for Ladun.
We go to the market once a week to buy fruit and vegetables. Up in the nunnery we have a lot of room. Here it is very cramped and loud and full. It's very hard for me. The last time I was in my home village, I found it too dirty. And I got bored too. I prefer it in the nunnery. It's much cleaner and my friends are there.
But contact with the local population is part of life for the nuns of the Amitabha nunnery. That's why Ladun is getting used to having to leave the idyll of the nunnery now and again. When the nuns raise the flag in their morning ritual, they are not only honoring their spiritual leader, the Gyalwang Drukpa, but also that which gives the order its name, the dragon. The order is financed by donations from its members, who mostly live in Asia.
What are you doing this afternoon?
Kung-Fu.
Kung-Fu and transcribing the prayer book.
But first, Ladun has an appointment with Amchi, the doctor. She doesn't feel well. The doctor at the nunnery is responsible for 500 nuns. She works according to the holistic, more than 1,300-year-old Tibetan medicine, whose aim is to bring body, mind and soul in harmony.
These here before lunch. All the pills have to be taken before eating. I'll see you next week. With our medicine, we can treat the whole body, from head to toe. We have every possible sort of medicinal herb against every possible form of illness.
All
the herbs here come from the Himalayan region. They have been hand-picked and are of the best possible quality.
The practice in the nunnery is always well attended.
Good evening, Angela.
Good evening, Betty.
So what can I do for you? I've got stomachache. And why? I think it was something I ate. And what did you eat? Powdered soup? Uncooked? Yes. Well, it's better if you cook it.
By checking the patient's pulse, Amchi can draw conclusions about the energy flow in the body and at the same time evaluate aspects like rhythm, strength and depth.
Does your upper stomach hurt? And can you feel air in your stomach? You have mild gastritis, too much acid in your stomach. You should be more careful what you eat. No dry packet soups, and for the moment at least, no ready meals. Our Guru, His Holiness, encouraged me to enter this wonderful profession. My grandfather was a doctor, my father was a doctor, and my uncle too. That's why His Holiness said to me one day, "You must continue this tradition. This profession is in your genes." So when I was 12, I went to Delhi, where I was trained by a Tibetan teacher. His mother was the first woman to practice Tibetan medicine. I came back to the nunnery 6 months ago.
This week, Ladun has kitchen duty.
Now you can help chop up the vegetables. Are you preparing the food for tomorrow already?
The nuns of the Amitabha nunnery live in small groups. They work, eat and meditate together. They trust and support each other. But joining the nunnery doesn't mean that they give up their family relationships.
Sometimes my father comes to see me. Then we ring my mother. She works in a fitness studio in Kuwait as a cleaner.
Her mum comes to visit once a year. Ladun returns to her village to meet her. Tingzin, Zangmo and a small group of other experienced nuns are getting changed for the so-called Dakini dance. The colourful costumes are heavy and highly symbolic.
Everything means something. The necklaces, the cuffs on the sleeves, the ornamentation and the patterns. We only wear these dresses for the Dakini dance, which is a journey to our innermost being.
In the temple, space has to be made for the dance. "17-year-old Ladun is now busy round the clock. Just putting on the heavy Dakini costumes is a science in itself. The White Nunnery is not open to the public. Dances and rituals are only part of the spiritual practice. Today, novice Ladun is in charge of her sister's physical well-being. Her teacher, Ting Zin, takes care of the spiritual growth. In fact, Buddhism forbids women from practicing martial arts, but in the White Nunnery, they ignore such rules.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Change.
The girls do strength and mobility training for at least an hour a day.
4, 5, 6.
Konchuk has been teaching for more than 10 years. Kung Fu changed her life.
From my own personal experience, I would say that it has really given me a lot of confidence, and it has made me physically very fit and mentally very strong. So we are like very prepared for any kind of situation, even if it's like earthquake or any natural disaster, or even if it's like some work we do. We do a lot of work actually, like animal rescue and cleaning campaigns. So it gives us strength in that way. So like for cycling, it has made us very like strong to do all our activities.
When they practice their sport, it becomes very clear how open and modern the nuns are. A quick tire change? No problem. Do it yourself, sister. Several times a week, they ride their mountain bikes down to Kathmandu. What starts out as a pretty harmless ride often ends in the chaotic traffic of the capital. Such training serves first and foremost to prepare for the major cycling tour, the so-called yatra, that takes the nuns through the Himalayas. This pilgrimage from Kathmandu to Ladakh in India is 1,500 kilometers long. And the route is seldom an easy downhill stretch. It goes over several passes, including the Kardong La at over 5,000 meters altitude.
In Kathmandu, the air is extremely bad. We use our bikes not just for the exercise, but also for the environment. We can see that at the moment there's a lot of chaos, with natural catastrophes everywhere. It's all our own fault, because we drive far too many cars and build factories everywhere. That pollutes the environment and causes catastrophes. You only have to think of global warming and climate change. By using our bikes, we want to show people that it is possible to get about in an environmentally aware manner.
The environmental friendly, eco-friendly way of traveling.
A worthy wish. It will probably take a few more bike trips before the message gets through. While they're still pedaling away, the others are having lunch. The nuns live and cook in small groups. They also eat together. There are only 2 real meals a day. They usually do without supper. For Tingzin Sangmo and the other cyclists, it's time to climb the hill again. There's no comparison with the Himalayan passes, but it's still pretty exhausting.
Give me that. And the other one too.
The nuns of the nearly 1,000-year-old Drukpa order see their mission in life in the practical application of their motto, live to love.
I am happy to be here today.
Ladun, Tingzin and the other nuns are preparing a visit to the orphanage in the next village, Ramkot. It's the first visit for everyone concerned. Poverty and hopelessness are the cause of many problems in Nepal, one of which is alcohol abuse. This destroys families, and it's often the children who fall by the wayside. In Ramkot, the nuns are eagerly awaited. Visitors and presents. Something of a miracle.
What's your name? Azir Atka. How old are you? 4. 4. Let's get started. I come from the White Nunnery up there. Today we've come to support you. We've brought you a few things, like vegetables, rice and lentils, for example, and also a few colored pencils and books. It would make us very happy if we can help you.
Fieldwork like this is now a part of Ladun's everyday life.
Thank you. Thank you.
I am very glad I came along today. Even though it's only a little bit of help, it's still a nice feeling all the same. The younger ones reminded me of my own brothers and sisters. I'm really happy I came here with the others.
Thank you,
21 boys and girls aged between 3 and 18 live in the orphanage. Bringing up a child here costs €100 per month. This is one of the girls' rooms. This room houses 6 girls.
6 girls?
Alcohol consumption creates a lot of social problems in Nepal. Drinking makes people ill and aggressive. Many fall into poverty because they drink too much. And then couples start quarreling, they stop looking after their children. At some point they get divorced. That's very easy in our country. But there are no rules about what then happens with the children. That means that many parents find new partners after the divorce, but then abandon their children. No one takes care of them. Another reason we have orphans in Nepal is natural disasters. Glacier melts are fairly common, and the floodwaters destroy whole villages. Parents die and children are orphaned, and then they're brought here.
Do they all get 3 meals a day?
They have breakfast in the morning. We give them lunch boxes for school. When they come back at 4 o'clock, there's a snack, and then there's supper in the evening. So, to be exact, they have 4 meals a day. 3 new girls have arrived at the White Nunnery. They all want to become nuns. They will move in with the young novices and Ladun will take charge of them.
Why did you come here? I've always wanted to be a nun, even when I was a little girl, but my mother wouldn't let me. She was worried I was too young. She said, "You don't know yet whether you'll like it in the nunnery. Later on you may get homesick and run away." You were too young. But then I spoke to my mother again and she said, "Now you are old enough. If you think you will be happy there, you can go." How old are you now? My whole life I've never known how old I was. But recently my mother told me she thinks I'm now 18.
18 years old.
And you? Are you here voluntarily? How old are you?
I've just turned 13.
And at school? What year?
Year 5.
And you? Why have you come to the nunnery? I wanted to. And why do you want to become a nun? Was it your mum's wish?
My mum said to me, if you get into the nunnery and practice, you'll become a good person.
Finally back among children her own age, Ladun seems more relaxed, even though the role of older sister seems to suit her. The girls are the first new arrivals of the Amitabha nunnery after 3 years of the pandemic, and they now have 2 months to decide if they want to stay.
And what do you want to learn here? I'd like to find my calling or something like that. And you? Kung Fu.
The combat sport attracts a lot of young girls. With Kung Fu, the nuns can also fight the patriarchy that dominates both Buddhism and Hinduism, Nepal's main religion. Even today, girls and women play a subordinate role in the Himalayan nations. The same applies to their problems. Lack of education in this regard and the tabooization of subjects like menstruation and female sexuality lead to ostracization and major health problems.
Namaste. We come from the White Nunnery and would like to talk to you today about menstruation. Have any of you ever had your period? Does anybody know why we bleed every month? All women in the Himalayas have periods. Every woman bleeds once a month. It's nothing to be ashamed about. We should talk about it. The sooner you know what it means, the better.
The nuns explain to the girls exactly what occurs in their bodies every month. Many have no idea what is happening when they get their periods and think it's a problem only they have. And while they're on the subject, the nuns cover monthly ovulation and possible consequences at the same time.
Women's issues are still taboo in the Himalayan regions. The girls don't talk about them, not even to their parents. They're ashamed. It's completely normal that no one talks about menstruation, for example. When I was a girl, I didn't talk about it to my parents either.
Talking about Kung Fu eases the tension.
Martial arts? Cute. Wow, it's nice.
It seems easier to trust nuns who do Kung Fu. The girls even start asking questions.
It is so important to educate girls that they should go to the doctor if they're in pain. In our culture, there are still women who get ill and die because of bad hygiene, because they can't talk to anyone about it.
So as to act preventively in this matter, the nuns have distributed reusable panty liners.
We told them how to use it, and we told them the information that how many pads we are using. As a woman, we use 2 trucks of sanitary pads in one life. So you can imagine if one person use 2 trucks of sanitary pad, how many women in this world are, and then how many trash cans there will be, how many trashes there will be there. So it's very important for us to know why we are using reusable pads.
Education is important. It gives the girls a little more independence. But it doesn't change anything in their traditional role behavior.
I respect all those, traditional, and so I should also get married, have a child. That's all.
Getting married and having children are only one of many bad options for women in Nepal. Due to the miserable economic conditions, many families send their daughters abroad to earn money and contribute to the overall family income.
In my village, there are girls who were sent abroad as soon as they were old enough to have a passport. Before I came to the nunnery, I wanted to become a doctor. If I weren't here now, I would be in year 9, and I would still be wanting to become a doctor.
Besides their spiritual and physical education, the women in the Amitabha nunnery can also develop job skills. Be it in crafts or intellectually, the aim is to achieve as much independence as possible. The nuns teach themselves a lot. For everything else, there are visiting teachers who train the women and girls in various trades. Clear allocation of responsibilities and a regular daily routine. Self-discipline is one of the most important characteristics for a nun. Everything serves their further spiritual development and its highest goal, letting go, overcoming one's ego, and putting oneself entirely in the service of the community. Do the 3 new girls know what kind of life awaits them in the nunnery? If they stay, they will have to do without an awful lot of things that make teenage hearts beat faster. Makeup, disco music, boys. But at the moment, they still have time to take it all in. Around 1.5 million people live in Greater Kathmandu. The biggest village in the world is in danger of suffocating in its own bad air and waste. But every Saturday morning, up to 500 nuns from the White Nunnery enter the capital with the aim of making Kathmandu a little bit cleaner. At the very least, the invasion of women in yellow vests draws attention.
At first, the people stared at us and said, "What are you doing here? You're nuns. You belong in the nunnery. You should be praying." We kept having to explain that we wanted to make our contribution to society. Plastic is not only very bad for our country, plastic is bad for the world. It doesn't break down. You either have to reuse it or get rid of it.
Thus, week for week, they fill a considerable number of rubbish sacks, which are then disposed of by the refuse collection service. The nuns know that their contribution to environmental protection is a drop in the ocean, but their actions are a statement.
We have breaking a lot of ceilings, a lot of things that nuns were not allowed to do, from doing mass dance to doing dakine dance to doing leading the prayers in the temple. That was like all unusual things. And there were a lot of people who criticized us. I wouldn't say they were men or women. There were a lot of people from outside who were just criticizing because they had a very old thinking of a nun just sitting on a cushion and meditating. But to us, to our Drukpa nuns, I think sitting on cushion and meditating is not enough.
You've got to raise your foot at the front, really high. Once more from the top.
Becoming a nun in the Drukpa order is voluntary and not a lifelong commitment. Those who decide against life in the nunnery can leave at any time. The arrival of the new girls has put Hladun in the role of an elder sister. She explains everyday life at the nunnery and outlines the various tasks and duties.
Normally I don't speak so much, except to my friends. And to us, I only speak to my proper friends. But we're friends now too. True, but I know my friends much better. I don't really like talking to strangers. I've told the girls they always have to get up on time. I don't think they're used to getting up so early. I also told them that they first have to learn the Tibetan alphabet by heart.
Hladun's best friend, Peter Moers, has to be shaved. A good opportunity to show the newbies what awaits them. Today, for the first time, Hladun will be allowed to participate in the official temple dance. Her transition to the adult world seems to have been a success, and the 17-year-old already has plans for the future.
Later on, I'd like to travel the world and teach dance and kung fu.